Gunpoint, a puzzle game about stealth, espionage, and punching the living crap out of security. Not because it's cathartic, but because they are very corrupt. Really, you can trust me. You play as Richard Conway, a freelance spy who happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, finding himself potentially incriminated for a murder he didn't commit. Hack, wall climb, belly flop, and of course, punch your way to finding the real murderer and clear your name, all the while jamming to the game's fantastic soundtrack. Right off the bat at the main menu, Gunpoint scores big boy points by treating you to some smooth as fuck noir-inspired music, perfectly fitting for Mr. Spyman here with his brown trench coat and fedora. This music theme keeps up for the rest of the game, and if it's not your cup of tea, which is a scene in and of itself by the way, don't worry, the composer's got you covered. Because while all the bass tracks are noir themed during missions, entering Crosslink spices things up. Sometimes it's just a simple but effective audio filter. Other times, it plays a separate track overlaying the bass one, or changing it up completely to an electronic influence theme. Having the soundtrack alternate between the two during gameplay is very refreshing and tremendously helps deal with potential music repetitiveness. I actually can't express enough how much I love this little feature. The developers could have just chosen to play the bass theme across missions and not give a damn, but they didn't, and chose to do something called attention to detail. Revolutionary, I know. It may seem insignificant to some people, but personally, the soundtrack plays a huge role in gameplay experience, and Gunpoint nails it to a T. You're probably also wondering what the hell Crosslink is, so now's a good time to get into the actual gameplay and mechanics. The guards in Gunpoint are loyal followers of the shoot first, ask questions later club. You can't dodge bullets as if you're in the Matrix, so instead, you've got fancy ass high-tech gadgets in your arsenal to aid you in your sneaky deaky activities. At the beginning, you start off with some pants that yeets you across some distance, the trajectory and power of which can all be controlled. Fulfill your misguided anime dreams by throwing yourself in this manner onto an unsuspecting guard to pin him down completely defenseless. You can now show your limitless amounts of affection for security guard senpai by caving his face in. This can only be done on regular senpai though. Thirsting for chunky senpai will result in him always rejecting your advances. Jumping onto a wall or ceiling will allow you to traverse with suction cups, stalk your senpai overhead to get the drop on him and show even more affection. Throwing yourself into a surface made out of glass shadows it. It's an easy point of entry, but spoiler alert, it's also very noisy, so you might want to think twice before busting your skull through glass walls. But that's okay, because the autosave system is well implemented. It auto-saves very frequently, with the save states nicely spaced out between one another so that you don't end up in a situation where you're stuck in a never-ending loop of painting the walls with your brain matter. You can go even further back than what the last 3 autosaves provide you by simply loading the older save, then manually, or killing yourself if you so choose, load an even older autosave to pretend that none of the fuck-ups you did ever happened, all according to plan. Wielding your mouse scroll switches you into Crosslink mode, and is pretty much the core mechanic for the puzzle aspect in Gunpoint. This mode basically allows you to rewire any highlighted electrical appliance to enable, disable, or repurpose what some of these actually do when triggered. The direction in which you rewire is crucial too, since it decides which of the two is going to be the actuator and effector. Don't be that guy who skips the tutorial and can't figure out why that light switch isn't working the way you want it to. Me? I'll never make such a rookie mistake.
Is it bugged?
Apart from obviously using it to bypass obstacles and reach your main objective, the best part about Crosslink is discovering new ways of screwing around with security. Switching the lights off to reduce visibility forces the guards to walk to the nearest light switch. If you disable it, you can observe their futile attempts at switching the lights back on while you giggle like a little high school girl. Doesn't work for dudes in black suits though. They can see in the dark because, fuck you, that's why. Don't look at me, I'm just telling you what the game told me. You can also fry people if they're nearby a power node. Or, my favorite, rewiring light switches to slam doors into people's faces. As you progress through missions in the story, more and more gadgets and perks become available to you. There's things like silently landing when dropping from a height, maybe diving through shots unharmed, muffling the sound of breaking glass, the literal "it's just a prank bro, why aren't you getting up," making guns do anything other than kill you, and finally, the "I solved the immediate problem but now I have another more permanent one." If you're going for a pacifist ghost run, you only really need the drop shot and Hushcracker. The others all involve you being seen, which is the opposite of what you want in the ghost run. And for the prank spasm, you can just use light switches. Some of these abilities cost battery to use, ranging from 1 battery per use to it's not worth it per use. The game does give you enough money to buy out everything eventually, but you can't farm money, so for me I kinda just hoarded my batteries, and I got by just fine. So it goes to show that you can clear missions without overly relying on gadgets. Speaking of missions, each time you complete one, it nets you some cash as well as an overall grade that looks like it depends on some factors, but oddly, they don't really matter. Neither does the grade itself. The only thing that makes an A+, which is the highest rating, is if you bother to follow the extra instructions the client specified. Even then, an A+ doesn't give you any benefit at all, like bonus cash or whatnot. So it's really just for bragging rights. Other than that, you're free to even massacre the entire building with no repercussions whatsoever. Genocide. So now that you've got a general idea of what the game has for you, here's roughly how a level would play out. Start a mission. Forget to read the secondary objective. Load in. Spend a few minutes in crosslink mode figuring out the next best course of action. Realize that your brain is single-celled. Disconnect everything because it makes you look smart. You totally have a grand plan. Slip past the guard. Have no idea what to do. Send hundreds of volts through a guy made out of 60% water because it feels like you made some progress. Have no idea what to do. Have an idea of what to do. You're gonna get the jump on this guy to access this thing. Ride the elevator. Realize you fucked up forever because you forgot that the ding alerts the guards on the same floor. Fade away from existence. Resort to using a battery to access this thing. Reach the main objective. Realize that you electrocuted this guy for no reason at all. Exit the stage. Realize that you bring dishonor to your family by getting a shitty A grade. Because the secondary objective was to use no violence. Freelance out of 10. Please hire me again. Story. The story in general is alright, with some twists and turns along the way, but there are some nitpicks. For one, the missions are all concerning your main objective of clearing your name and finding the real murderer. There aren't any side stories or missions happening while you're on your main job, which is a shame, as I'd love to see more of Conway's shenanigans as a spy or other interesting situations he gets himself into. It's extra work and not exactly necessary, yes, but it just feels like wasted potential since Conway does actually seem to have a personality. Throughout the game, you get to pick between several dialogue options, ranging from boring normie, I have some sense of humor, and cheeky smartass piece of shit Conway, the best one. At some points, you also get to make major decisions that seem to diverge the storyline into different routes, but they're all just illusions of choice. Other than some changes in dialogue, the outcome, mission stages, and ending all remain the same, which again is a massive shame. There are minor differences for some mission objectives as well as the final stage in the game as a result of dialogue, but they are not significant enough to warrant a second playthrough. Gunpoint took me about 4 hours to complete, and that's with me taking my time carefully planning out each mission and totally not because thinking is my worst main stat. It's short, but if you get it on sale like I did, this shit's basically a steal. Other little nitpicks include the lack of a consequence when cameras spot you. The only time it poses any kind of threat is if it's connected to a sound alarm, in which once you disable that, the camera literally becomes a light switch. There's no repercussion for getting your face fully captured on video. It doesn't affect your end result either, which is very weird considering you're partaking in espionage. Playing at the highest resolution makes the game look so small that unless you have the eye muscles of freaking Hercules, it's much better to just play at the recommended 1280x720 resolution. It's alright though, as the game's pixel art still looks clean. I mean, it's a 2013 Sprite game. I think it's fine to cut it some slack. To wrap things up, game good, recommended very. If you're worried you might be too much of an ooga booga to clear the puzzles, don't worry, I completed it. And that's saying something. As always, more content coming your way, so stay tuned. I'll see you all in the next one.